Why do footballers cry after losing? The truth will surprise you. A 41-year-old man, arguably the greatest goal scorer the sport has ever seen, stood on a football pitch in Texas and cried in front of 80,000 people. Cristiano Ronaldo had just watched his final World Cup end with a single late goal from Spain. He'd won league titles, Champions Leagues, a European Championship, more trophies than most players could dream of. And still, in that moment, none of it stopped the tears. So why does losing a game hit even the most decorated athletes on earth this hard? Do you actually know what's happening inside a player's body when the final whistle blows and the tears start? Most people assume it's simple: he lost, he's disappointed, end of story. But that explanation barely scratches the surface of what's actually going on. Let's start with what that moment really is. Here's the thing. Professional footballers train their bodies to suppress emotion constantly. Show weakness on the pitch, and opponents exploit it. So when the emotional wall finally breaks in front of millions of people, it's rarely just about that single match. It's usually the release of something that's been building for weeks, months, sometimes years. Sports psychologists call this cumulative emotional load. An athlete doesn't just carry the pressure of one game into a tournament, they carry every sacrifice that got them there. The years away from family, the injuries played through, the countless hours nobody saw. When the final whistle confirms that all of it led to elimination, the brain doesn't process it as one loss. It processes it as everything at once, finally allowed to surface. And by the way, if you've ever wondered why some players seem completely fine right after a devastating loss, only to break down hours or even days later, we'll get into exactly why that happens by the end of this video, and it's something most fans get completely wrong. Now, here's something even more surprising. Crying after a loss isn't actually a sign of an athlete falling apart. In many cases, it's the opposite. Research into elite performance has found that suppressing intense emotion for extended periods, exactly what athletes are trained to do during a match, requires enormous mental energy. When the game ends and that suppression is no longer needed, the nervous system essentially has to discharge everything it was holding back. Tears aren't collapse. They're the body's fastest way of resetting itself after prolonged extreme stress. This is also why you'll often see a losing captain comforting a crying teammate instead of looking devastated themselves. It's not that they care less. Their emotional release may simply come later, in private, once the cameras and pressure are gone. And hey, if this is changing how you see these moments, smash that like button and subscribe. It's the best way to help us reach more football fans who actually want to understand what's happening beneath the surface. But there's another layer to this, and it's the one most fans never consider. For players like Ronaldo, a loss like that one in Texas isn't just about a single tournament. It's about time itself. A 25-year-old who loses a World Cup can reasonably believe another chance is coming. A 41-year-old walking off that pitch knows, with complete certainty, that this particular door has just closed forever. Psychologists call this kind of grief anticipatory finality, mourning not just what happened, but the permanent loss of ever being able to change the outcome. It's the same emotional weight people feel at the end of any major chapter of their life, except this one plays out in front of a global audience, in real time, with no ability to process it privately first.